It is now December 2023. Yes. It's been going down. Hello, my name is Shamima, but you can call me Jamie, and I live in Kinshasa. So this has been a long-awaited YouTube channel. I've been thinking about doing YouTube for the longest time, and I think the biggest reason was that when I first moved to Kinshasa in 2021, like 2.5 years ago, when I first moved to Kinshasa, I was really looking for information on what it's like being in Congo, like what's life like, what's just things like in general, because the only information I knew was the stuff I was seeing like from UNICEF and the World Health Organization, and they'd be like, oh, Ebola, and they'd say like, oh no, like this is just bad, there's war. And coming back to Congo was a very scary thing, although I still decided to do it. Was a very scary thing, but having very little information, there were a few YouTubers that were putting out stuff, but it wasn't to the extent to which I needed it to be. And so I am here being that YouTuber for you. So today, before I get started, I am drinking tea. This is a brand called Casino. I don't know where it's from. I think it's definitely an import. It's not a local brand, but it's called Casino, and they've got this cinnamon and apple tea. It's very soothing, yum. And I've got a cake of some sort from Eric Kayser, if you can see that. Eric Kayser, I am starved, and I have lots to tell you. So, today was election day, and this is the first time I have ever in my life had the opportunity to vote. Look. It's the first time in my whole life I've ever had the opportunity to vote, and I just want to share my experience with you, what it was like. I grew up in South Africa, so I'm not accustomed to, I was not accustomed to Kinshasa, and there are still lots of things that today are pretty new to me. I moved to Kinshasa about 3 years ago, and I'm not necessarily accustomed to like everything happening in Congo and how things are done. I grew up in South Africa and spent most of my life there. So coming here was a huge step and a very scary one, because there was very little information available to me about the society of Congo, or things available that I need. For example, are the brands that I have in South Africa going to be available here? Is it easy to ship things over? What is the whole societal structure like? There were very few YouTubers that were giving out information. Jessie Love, we've been friends for a long time, Jessie Love, because I've been watching your videos. There was Jessie Love, and then there was like one other girl, Emanuela, and then there was like nothing else. Anything else I saw was more like touristic. They went to a restaurant, or they went to some place that is touristic, and then, but I wanted to know about the real society. And so because I didn't have what I needed when I needed it, I'm here to offer that to you. So today was election day, and this is the first time in my entire life that I have had the opportunity to vote. Look, I am so excited, and I'm so happy about that. And yeah, I'm going to share what that experience was like with you. Election day and voting. Here we go. So firstly, first thing in the morning, I checked my phone, and when I looked at my phone, there was already a message from one of my friends who sent a video of some unrest in some other location. And we were like, okay, if it's starting this early in the morning, Congo, unfortunately, is not known for having the most stable elections. We've recently started having democratic elections, based on our past and our history, la-di-da, la-di-da. And so when there are elections, people are fearful, people are precautious, people are prudent and we are careful, like, okay, what's going to happen? Because if one candidate feels like he's been cheated or they want to have a military coup or something, that's going to affect us. A lot of people actually go and they start stocking up stuff, but I didn't think it's going to be hectic, so I didn't stock up, but I do have just in case. So this morning a friend sends me a message to say, there's some upheaval in this area, or they are singing the name of the previous president, and that can get a little bit hectic. So I was worried, I was a little bit worried, but I was like, okay, this is another location, and this video may have been from a long time ago. It may not necessarily have been like recent, so I went anyway to go and vote. I went to my electoral station, and as I get downstairs, the security guards are telling me like, hey, we went to vote this morning and we couldn't vote because there were no machines. You can imagine how I felt. I was like, okay, I still persevered. I went, I got to the election station, and I didn't film any footage there because, you know, can't do that. I went to the election station, and then they told me I had to go and find my name in front of one of the offices, but it had keys. Like, if your name starts with M to Z, it's here, A to B, it's here. So you had to go and look for where your name was. And I found my name in front of one of the offices, and then I had to stand there. They had me write my name on a list as well. And then eventually they started things going. The first people they allowed to vote were the witnesses. They are witnesses that like watch the whole thing to make sure like no one's being forced to do anything, no one's being cheated. And so the witnesses were the first people to vote. And after they had voted, then they started allowing us to vote, and they started calling us in order of the number you came in, like whatever number you were on the sheet you signed. So they put us in order, and then we went in and voted and whatever. It sounds like it was very organized, but in the beginning it really wasn't. It was not organized. You had people complaining and like shouting, and they're tired and they've been here since 6 in the morning and stuff. So there was a little bit of like tension, but not political tension, irritation tension. People are tired and they're in the hot sun. I am glad I wore sunblock today because it was worth it. I stood in that sun. Anyway, so eventually like my name was on the 3rd list. There were like two full lists before me. My name was on the 3rd list, and then they called me, and I stood in my place in the line, and I waited, and by that point I was getting agitated and I needed water, and I had to go get water, and then I came back. And they finally called me to come into the office. I went in. It was like so simple, because I went in, and then like I had to stand by this lady. When the other person had finished voting, he put his ballot into the bag, and then I went into like the little cubicle thing to vote. Well, first they gave me my ballot, and then I went to the little cubicle thing to vote. They gave me my ballot, and they were like, okay, you need to like put it in. And I was like, put it in? Okay. And I went, and then like there's like a little thing that will suck your ballot in, like this, and then you're gonna vote. So it sucked my ballot in. It validated that it was an authentic ballot. There were now the options of who I could vote for the presidential, legislative, and deputies, and the municipal. All elections done in one. The actual voting process is very quick. What was slow was the waiting process, organizing, getting people into lines, and all sorts of things like that. And then, you know, we always have the grandmas and the grandpas that sometimes are really slow on the machine because they don't know how to use it. They're not accustomed to these things. So that also helped. That didn't help. But I must say, I was really impressed by the overall spirit of the people there. And this is something I really must commend Congo for, because I didn't know what to expect with elections. Isn't it, we're watching TV, and we'd always see like, oh, elections are coming, people are fighting in Congo, there's war, there's guerrilla warfare, everything was just like a mess. So when I was there, it actually wasn't that at all. It really was not that at all. There were some elderly men, some elderly women, there were sick people, there were people maybe that are, like they have children or a handicap, and you know, people were allowing them like to step in line in front, and they were saying like, no, come in front. And you would see like these people would come, and they would go to the back of the line, and you'd see someone at the back of the line say, I'm not going to tolerate you sitting at the back, like go forward, and then we would let them vote first. And I really thought that was something encouraging, because what I say, Congo is a country where it's not all for one and one for all. Not really. From my experience, it's each man for himself and God for us all. Each man for himself and God for us all. But today that was different. People were considering others who had a difficulty and putting them ahead of themselves. They had already been there since morning. They'd been waiting for a long time to get in line to vote, and now they're letting someone else skip the line because they're elderly, they have a child, and the line behind them, everybody was in agreement. Everyone was like, yeah, of course, let them go first. It wasn't like they jumped in line and everyone started screaming behind. Everyone was like, yeah, it makes sense. So that was really nice to see. And then there was just like a really nice aura. There was one of the elderly men. He was really well dressed. He was looking dapper, but you could see he was like really, really old. He comes out after voting and he stands like on this like a little step, right? He stands on the step and he thanks everyone, like, thank you so much for letting me go. I really appreciate it. And everyone like accepted his appreciations or accepted his thank you, and then he moved on. And I thought that was something that was really nice to see. There was another man, a younger guy, and his collar was like turned the wrong way. And one of the older men in the space called him and was like, okay, let me fix your collar for him. Fix his collar. And the young man turned around and he was like really thankful. And this is another face of Congo that I haven't seen in a long time amongst people that don't know each other. None of us knew who's who there. Some of us had family members that are all voting at the same station, but someone is in another office, that one's in another office, because you're put in order of name and not necessarily in order of like ID number or families or anything like that. So we were really amongst people that we did not know. And that was a good thing to see. So far, to be honest, it took a very long time to vote. I was there from like 10 in the morning. And I like left around like 2. So it did take a long time, but I'm still pleased I did it, and I would do it again. If you're thinking about coming to Congo, comment below what kind of content you'd like to see. I'm thinking about doing the banks, talking about the banks, because the banking system here, you need to be ready. It's not impossible, but I've made so many mistakes with the banking system. Just on Monday, 2 days ago, I was at the bank the entire day. So if you'd like to see or hear about what the banking system is like and you plan to come here, comment below. Anyway, nice to meet you. My name is Jamie. Until next time, goodbye.